the thing is that we've been delivered the illusion of data and activity, yeah. And it was, the bottom line is, it was consumer thinking dressed up and applied to B2Bs. We've all understood, right, that social media is a big part of the business, the whole business marketing lineup, yeah? And there are a variety of people who profess to know what the best strategies are. And a lot of those people, those marketers, will die on that hill defending what the supposed good and the great tell them. But what should you really do? If they're wrong, what should you do? And this is where it gets really interesting. Because recently, with, of course, the help of AI agents and ChatGPT and Claude and so on, I've been doing some research and can confirm that social media platforms post statistics, and while stating or mentioning B2B in all their descriptions and so on, they're consumer statistics. So firstly, I'm talking about the recommended times to post and the response rates. And even with ChatGPT's agreed, well, actually, they kind of seem more like a punt or a guess. So you've got to start, you've got to question it. So after kind of initially researching like the most kind of the popular brands and the SaaS blogs and combined and so on. So initially, when I first started doing this, I said, what should we do? What should we be doing as a business, you know, when we were using social media and so on? Excuse me. And he said, okay, well, what you need to do is here's the perfect sanitized structure, which is the 5 posts per day, and that was optimal. But did you know that LinkedIn allows one profile to post up to 20 times a day? So that's 5 posts versus 20, which is interesting. Because at this point, this is when I pushed back to GPT, and it had to agree that there were no hard and fast stats specifically for B2B. I'll come back to that in a minute. So we're kind of looking at these, I suppose, traditional methods, how we're all conditioned to generate new business. And I'm talking about like the futility of cold calling and the failure rate or success rate, depends which way you want to look at it, which is like 300 to 1 in finding someone that's just interested. And so we absolutely know that trying to phone someone throughout the day is hit and miss. And 300 to 1 proves that. Because the person you want to speak to, if they don't pick up, they're on holiday, gone to the loo, in a meeting, busy, making coffee, doing anything other than answering the phone. And I think at the end of the day, if the gatekeeper doesn't get rid of you, the person you want to speak to will. I need to have a quick drink. But the odds of cold calling are just abysmal. And everybody knows it. So on top of that, it's always an unwanted interruption. I won't answer them. You probably won't either. And social posts are only slightly different, but in this case, you never know when someone is going to look at their news feed. And we're kind of looking at LinkedIn, and if they do, when are they going to do it? When are they going to choose time to a bit of time, spend some time to read or watch or engage or download something? Who knows? No one knows. And it's become, I would say, an impossible algorithm to unpick. Not because of the technical complexity, but because everyone, every person, every business scenario, every day, there's a reason for doing something, and whatever it is. But how do you define it? Because everything and everyone's different. I mean, email's another factor in this kind of whole confusion. I can only say from our own experience, you know, we as you probably guessed, we only focus on CEOs and leaders, And our opening click rate bears no resemblance to the statistics we see from every major service provider. And ours is massively high. Thank goodness. I mean, what can we say? Thank goodness. We don't pester people, but we when we send them out, we're 60-70% open rate. It's great. I'm thinking, well, that's okay. And the likes of GPT are going, whoa, wait a second, that's really spectacular. And then there's the blogs. All these really well-known people, like Neil Patel, Gary Vee, Seth Godin, who incidentally was credited with the eruption of email spam back in the day. But pretty much everything and everyone we read, see, hear is all based on consumer statistics. So it's like, what's going on here? I mean, there's this disconnect between the reality and expectation. The bottom line, sales knows it's a problem. They've always known it's a problem. Marketing don't. I mean, it might be a lot to take in, but I'm kind of throwing a load of stuff at you at the moment. But if you look at the investment industry, so we've got Dragon's Dens in the UK, and in the US there's Shark Tank. And unless you picked up on it, they're both focused on consumers. So if you look at the statistics for businesses who attract investment, so 40% fail. 80% fail to achieve their own targets, and I say 95% of the businesses fail to achieve an ROI for the investors. And this week I saw a post by Richard Farley, who was an ex-Dragon, 2000, I think, sort of 20 years ago, give or take. And he invested in Pret-a-Porter, the fashion company. And he said that they were one of 2 companies out of 120 that achieved what they set out to achieve. So mine, like 95% or 5% ROI for investors, is kind of being a bit generous. Wrong? Doesn't matter. But looking at Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, they present this kind of constant expectation of instant success and instant answers. So it's pretty much like genie in the lamp business growth. It's just this kind of expectation. And I think while there are definitely certain benefits for investors and so on, we're talking about the influences. Yeah, the media pursues the B2C environment, and if the marketing strategies and tactics are being pushed and promoted by the MarTech SaaS businesses and their advocates, so the marketing employees and the CMOs and so on, and they're all talking about applying the same approach, so it makes complete sense that, going back to the investment industry, the majority of investors will see or expect to see the same infrastructures within all the businesses that they invest in. So it's a very skewed view of what's going on, and if every business gets tarred with the same brush. Hollywood, podcast, TV, to the mass, to all the investors, according to them, we're all the same. I was told a little while ago that if you wanted to get traction on a B2B product, you should give it away for free. It's fine for a consumer product, for a pair of trainers or something, but it's not so easy for a B2B product that could cost thousands in terms of the product itself, or even just the installation or support costs. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be a difference for the investors too. But not all of them understand B2B. Most do B2C because it's so popular, and it's like at the bottom of that pyramid. That's where most of the people are. But when this environment is looked at as a whole, though, there's massive disconnect. B2B is full of B2C strategies and tactics, and no one seems to have challenged them. And I know for a fact, all salespeople have always known something was off. They've always known that from their own personal experience of finding a prospect, arranging a meeting, doing the demonstration, presentation, close, absolutely bore no resemblance to the hopeful It's the best way to put it. Kind of planned marketing activity from their respective marketing departments. And so it's little wonder that there's this friction between sales and marketing teams. I say teams. Can't call them teams. They're not on the same side. And it's, to me, just marketing simply working in an environment that most people recognise from whether it's Dragon's Den or television or whatever. So employees, board directors, investors and so on, it just seems to be this big disconnect when it comes to B2B. So if we've all been influenced by film, TV, podcast, YouTube and all types of social media and all their platforms, it's absolutely little wonder that B2Bs find it tough. Or they just keep doing the same as they did 50 years ago. And its bottom line is they're not being given the full picture. They've been given the wrong statistics. So let's face it, it's not a secret. Every B2B experiences low sales and constantly desires to be super successful. But we're not selling consumer products in a shop or online. We have to go out and find a business. We have to be the catalyst to instigate new relationships. But the tragedy is, like I said, the information and data B2Bs have been given is wrong. And I know it's a bitter pill, could call it, bitter pill to swallow, but it is what it is.